Okay, right here is a 1928 Monighan 4W walking dragline. Monighan Machine Works of Chicago, Illinois was established in 1884. The company first began manufacturing dragline parts in 1907 when a local contractor named John W. Page placed an order for hoisting machinery to install on his dragline. It was due to the early success of Page's dragline excavators that both companies began to work together in the manufacturing of dragline components. And in 1908, Monighan changed its name to Monighan Machine Company. The Model 4W was introduced in 1926 as a replacement for the older 4T model. Now let's go and take a closer look at this old girl. Replacing the older T-Series draglines in 1925 was Monighan's new W-Series, all of which boosted the improved Martinson walking system. Now let's talk a little about this design feature. In 1913, Oscar Martinson, an engineer with Monighan Machine Company, invented the first walking device for a dragline, which consisted of two shoes, one on each side of the machine, hanging from chains by trunnions, fixed to a horizontal shaft running across the machine. Later on, in 1925, Martinson improved his earlier design with a system replacing the shoe suspension chains with an eccentric cam wheel running inside of an oval track in a frame pivoted to the shoes, which you can see right here. This new rigid design would become the standard walking device for Monighan and later Bucyrus era draglines for decades to come. How this worked is very simple. As the walking shaft rotates slowly, the shoes follow the eccentric's oval path, which in turn pushes both shoes down onto the ground, picks the back of this dragline up, and slides the entire machine backward, a distance referred to as one step. When this machine is engaged into the walking mode, about 80% of the dragline's weight is transferred to the shoes. The 4W was available from Monighan with 3 different boom sizes, depending on what the customer preferred. A 100-foot boom was standard for this machine. However, Monighan also offered an optional shorter 80-foot boom or a longer 120-foot boom with corresponding bucket sizes ranging from 3 to 5 cubic yards. Here you can see where the boom pins to the superstructure on this machine. And right here you can see where the drag rope runs out through the fair lead. And from under here, you can get a good view of the tub on this machine, which measures 24 feet 7 inches across. And if you look, you can see all of the individual rollers, which will guide this machine to swing left or right when it's running. Now, let's go up inside of this old girl. Okay, here we are inside of the 4W, and from standing in the front of this machine looking directly back, you can get a great view of what the inside of the machinery house on this dragline looks like. In the front of this machine, on the left side, is the swing gear, which you can see right here. In the center of this machine are the two drums which will operate the bucket. The front drum is the drag drum, and the drum that you see directly behind it is the hoist drum. Located in the front of this machine, on the right side, is the operator station, which you can see right here. And as you can see, the operator station on the 4W is very much different than what you would find today on a modern walking drag line. And also take note that the operator station on this drag line is mounted inside of the machinery house. And you can just imagine the amount of noise that the operator would be exposed to when he'd be running this machine. Let's go and take a look. Here you can see the operator's seat, foot pedals on the floor, and out in front you can see all the hand levers and controls that would operate this machine. On the 4W, the hoist, drag, and swing functions are operated by friction clutches driven by the diesel engine. And from right here you can get a crystal clear view of what the operator would see if he were running the 4W. Here you can see the walking shaft, which runs across this machine and connects on each side to the two eccentrics. And when this machine is engaged into the walking mode, this is what will rotate the eccentrics, which in turn will push the shoes down onto the ground and walk this machine. This shaft is operated by a jaw clutch. Now this is one of the features on this machine that I find to be really cool. This is a Fairbanks Morse Model 32, a classic relic from the industrial era. It is a 3-cylinder diesel engine that develops 180 horsepower for this machine. And for customers who opted for electric power instead of diesel, the 4W could be equipped with an optional 200 horsepower electric drive motor. And if we take a look over here, on the opposite side of this engine, if you look down here on the engine bed plate, you can see where it says Fairbanks Morse. These two tanks that you see over here on the left side are air tanks. This big tank you see right here is one of the fuel tanks. This is actually an added feature, as normally this machine would be equipped with a single fuel tank. And here you can see the second fuel tank. Each of these holds 624 gallons of fuel. Okay, let's go up top and check out the engine some more. Here you can see the big flywheel on this engine, and directly ahead of it is where the main drive belt would have been located, which would have operated the drums and gears on this machine. And from up top here, you can get a great view looking down on the 3 big cylinder heads on this engine. And as you can see, each cylinder on this engine has its own exhaust stack. This belt that you see over here on the right side operates the countershaft, which you can see looking directly behind me. This shaft operates the 2 cooling radiators for the engine, which are located on each side of this machine. You can see one over here on the left side, and on the right side you can see the second radiator. And the overall operating weight of a 4W is 232 tons. During the 1920s, Bucyrus Company observed Monighan's walking dragline innovation, and in 1931, Bucyrus took a controlling interest in the Monighan Company and changed the company's name to Bucyrus Monighan in 1934. From that point on, the Monighan draglines would continue to be built under the Bucyrus Monighan name until 1946, when the Monighan name was dropped and changed to Bucyrus Erie. The 4W remained in production until 1932, and in total, only 8 4Ws were built. But there she is, a 1928 Monighan 4W.